Now let's take a look at scalar functions. You probably are already aware of these things. I just want to bring them to your attention and let you know about them. If you jump out to Help and go to Index and just type scalar functions and double click that, you can see that we're talking about things like aggregate functions, and we'll jump out here into these. I'll just click on that. And it should jump me right out to them, but since it's a live video, it's taking longer than it should. We're talking about things like average, count, count big, variations, minimums, maximums. We can do standard deviations. We can do all kind of things with these. And there's a number of these standard functions or scalar functions built in. There's date and time functions, there's mathematical functions. If I click on mathematical functions, you can see there's sine and cosine, the things you hated in high school, square roots, tangents, power, and that sort of thing. We can choose random numbers or create random numbers. So there's a lot of things built into here. What I want to do is let's just go take a look at just a couple of these and I'll show you an example using the average and count. And I want to show you these because I want to get you thinking this way, because in this next video I want to talk about UDFs where we can build our own functions. But these are pre-programmed for us. But let's say that we're the sales manager for this company. Notice that I am, by the way, in the AdventureWorks LT 2008 database, and I've selected everything from the sales LT sales order detail table. This returned 542 rows, but what I'm trying to determine is how are we doing on average? What's our average order looking like? Well, let's do a query to determine that. Let's do a select average order quantity. We'll just call this average order QTY for a column alias, and this is going to tell us order quantity. How many items are people ordering from us on average? You can see some people are doing 1, some 4, some 2, some 6. And then the unit price. What items are they ordering? How much are they spending on each unit? Well, let's get that as well. So I'll do average unit price, and I'll just alias that as average price, and then we'll pull that from the sales LT sales order detail table. Now, if I execute just that query and run it, notice it's going to give me 2 averages. And I can see instantly that on average for our orders that are in this table right now, we're averaging 3 items per order, and our average price of those items is $382.87. Now this gives me a benchmark to look at next month by. And next month we'd like to see at least 3 average orders, but probably 4 or more, and we'd like to see the average price go up. So we want our sales guys selling more of the more premium items maybe. But that's a way to use average. You need to pay attention to average if you have nulls out there, if you have a lot of zeros, those kind of things that can skew averages. But now we can actually do select count, and we can dig into this data just a little more. Because with select count, we'll select the count from the sales LT sales order detail table, where the order quantity column, where it's greater than 5. So how many times did people order more than 5 items from us? So we'll run that, and it will just count and return me one thing. 114 times. We could do a column alias here, greater than 5, and then we can run that, and we can get it back. And wait, I ran them both. Let me highlight just that one and run it. So we had 114 orders greater than 5, and there we're using that count function. So functions are kind of cool, but what you need to see is that functions basically have the query, they run once, and then this particular function right here, every time the query runs over a row, this function executes again. This function is like recurring right here for every row that comes back in the row set. So that's basic look at functions. And if you'll join me in the video on UDFs, I'll show you how to build your own functions to do some really cool things when you're actually pulling your data back out. Now this comes into play in development because you don't always have to develop the tables out to the nth degree to store data, because you can use functions to pull the data out later when you're actually writing your programming for these things. And I'm hoping it'll pop into focus for you, especially when you see the video on UDFs.